Breaking news overnight. Members of the United Auto Workers Union have gone on strike in the United States. They've shut down this morning 3 major plants, one from each of the Detroit threes, it's known, as that strike deadline passed at midnight Eastern. This is the very first time the union has taken job action against the big 3 Detroit automakers at the very same time.
Solidarity forever for the union makes us strong. Hell yeah!
So there was the scene a few hours ago outside a Ford assembly plant in Wayne, Michigan. That's just outside Detroit. About 1,300 UAW members are on strike at these 3 locations. There's a Stellantis in Toledo, Ohio, and a GM site in Missouri as well. The UAW president, Shawn Fain, showed up at the picket line in Michigan just after midnight.
Record profits equal record contracts. It's our time, and all we want is our share of equity. We're not asking to be millionaires. We're not asking to join the billionaire class. We're asking for our fair share of the fruits of our labor. They deserve it.
So the 3 locations on strike today, this is just a limited strike. It makes up just a fraction of the broad UAW membership. Other locations are working under an expired agreement for now, but the strike could expand nationwide. There we're looking at the plants. Let's just bring you in some live pictures. Just before we joined Steve Futterman, we were looking at Wayne, Michigan, just outside Detroit. That's the Ford plant, and of the limited number of strikers today, 3,300 are out walking the picket line at this particular Ford plant in Wayne, Michigan. Steve Futterman in front of a Ford facility in Los Angeles. So, Steve, on the breaking news this morning, give us more detail.
Yes.
The contract demands on the part of the union, what is the UAW asking for? It helps us understand why this is so unprecedented.
Well, that's right, Heather. As you mentioned, normally the striking is aimed towards one of the big 3. Normally the UAW targets one of the big 3, and that's where the walkout, the strike is aimed at. But this time, all 3 are being affected. But as you mentioned, not everyone's walking out. There's more than 140,000 UAW workers in the U.S. This is affecting, as you mentioned, at those 3 locations in Ohio, Michigan, and Missouri, around 13,000. So this is a strategy they're taking right now. As you mentioned, lots of issues being discussed here. The big one, of course, not surprisingly, money. The union wants an increase of 36% over the next 4 years, while the big 3 are offering around 20%. So if the 2 sides reach an agreement, you would expect one side to go up, one side to come down, some meeting in the middle there. But for the moment, that's the big issue. Also, electronic vehicles. The auto industry is moving, as we know, away from the traditional internal combustion vehicles towards electronic vehicles. That could displace many of these union workers. They want some protection. So those are really the 2 big issues right now. Many people wondering, what are the workers saying? Here's what we found from a few of them who do support the strike.
I think the UAW will take care of me, and I hope the company will too.
People have been underpaid for a while. Benefits have been crazy, so this is definitely something that's going to help everyone.
We deserve our raise. We deserve I think everybody out here does. We come to work every day, we work hard, we make sure quality is right.
And Heather, one thing that the union is pointing out is that the big 3 have been making bundles of money, billions of dollars in profits each year. They say they want their share of the pie. They deserve it.
So I'm thinking of people looking to buy a new vehicle. What kind of stockpiles do the big 3 have, Steve? What happens if this strike drags on?
Well, that's the big issue. If it drags on, for the moment, people are going to be fine. There is enough of a stock at most vehicle dealerships for people to buy cars if they want it. But if this strike goes on week after week after week, which is always possible, we've seen very long strikes with the UAW historically. Well, after a few weeks, you could start seeing the inventory decrease. You could see the price of new cars go up, and that would also probably affect used cars. Another ancillary issue, what will it be for like restaurants that are in the areas where these auto plants are, other stores? Well, they will be affected as well. So this could be very, very tough nut to crack for people who work in the areas. And of course, finally, the dealers get their parts from various industries across the U.S. The people who supply the parts to the big 3, they will be impacted as well.
Steve Futterman, thank you. You can bet we'll be checking in on
Heather.
those picket lines and back to you for updates on this. But the breaking news of the big strike, auto workers in the United States.